The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, March 24th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Lakers streak ends at 9. The Tankapalooza parlay gets busted as a team snaps a long losing skid, and we are counting down the hours until Major League Baseball opening night. Colby Marchio joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Colby, what's your opinion on, before we get into everything that we're going to get into on the show, real quick, opening night in Major League Baseball as opposed to opening day? You know, ESPN started this a couple of years ago when they would put like the one primetime game on before the traditional opening day. I hate it. To me, opening day is sacred. It's a holiday, but we now have one standalone game on Netflix coming up tomorrow night to serve as Major League Baseball's opening night.
I'll even backtrack on that. The Japan series last year. That was in the middle of the spring training where it counted, but then we're going back to spring training to where those games don't count. And then, hey, opening days 10 days later. That I didn't like. However, I can understand your point of view. It also is just the cherry on top of it being on Netflix and it's not opening day. It's like, hey, the new era of how am I supposed to watch this game? Like, our fathers are punching air, being like, you're telling me I got to get another subscription to watch the game that I love? I get it. As somebody who craves baseball all year long, I'm just glad it's back because I don't bet spring training. The people that do, kudos to you. You're an absolute grind animal. I'm too busy watching college basketball, but I'm glad it's back. It's my favorite time of the year. Opening day just has a little special vibe in the air. I know people are complaining March 25th is a little bit too early for opening day. I don't care. You could start that February 29th. The college kids are doing it at whatever day. What's the difference? Oh, they're in California and down south.
Yeah, we'll preview some of the content that you and Jake will have coming up here as we get ready for opening day up on betterday.com and here on the Better Day podcast feed. But let's start with the NBA. Last night, Colby, the Lakers lost, and so they snapped their 9-game winning streak. You know, the line was a little bit suspect. I know no Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons, but still you had a Lakers team that was on the road, winners of 9 straight games, and they were only laying. The line went against them. They went from 2.5-point favorites down to 1.5-point favorites. They wind up losing 113 to 110. Luka Doncic tried to save the game late, but unable to do so. So the Pistons get the 113-110 win. Now, my question is, do we back the Lakers in their next game? Thankfully for them, they're playing the lowly Pacers, who, by the way, are coming off of a win. We'll talk about that in a second. But when you see a team lose their streak, are you more inclined to back that team, or are you more inclined to fade that team in their next game?
I'm more inclined to take that next game off just to see how they face adversity and then see what to do after the fact. So it's the game after the game. I look ahead to the following. But against the Pacers, coming off a win and they're bad, that makes me want to back the Lakers. But it's more of like, how can you deal with facing adversity, which is something you haven't faced in 2 weeks? I mean, 10 games is probably 2 weeks, right? Full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Lakers, 9 straight wins. This was their 5th straight road game And so they lose in Detroit. Now they will go to Indy to face the Pacers. And how about this schedule coming up? You got Pacers, Nets, and Wizards before you face the Cavs and then the Thunder. So at least you get 3 wins under your belt before you then have to take on the Cavs and the Thunder.
Are they back at home after the Pacers?
Yes. They are back home on Friday against the Nets.
And you said that was so it's a 6-game road trip?
Yep.
So my friends have a system play called the grocery theory. So you back a team coming off a really long road trip. When they get home, they don't have their groceries in the fridge, but they come ready to play. They're just dorks, but it usually works. They'll text in the group chat, groceries.
So it is that is a system that's been in play for a while. It's called the Malinsky Special, after a former longtime handicapper in town, Dave Malinsky, who had the theory of you fade the team in the first game home after the long road trip there. So nothing new in handicapping here.
Yeah.
Now, I did look this up. If you win 9 straight games in the NBA since the start of the 2021 season, and then you lose in the follow-up games so far since the 2021 season, 23-17 straight up, but only 19-20-1 against the spread. So you don't do well. You don't cover the spread, but you do win more times than not. And in the first quarter, let's see, 23-15-2 straight up in the first quarter. In the first half, it's pretty similar. So maybe it's back in the Lakers in the first quarter, but then again, they're playing the Pacers. You can back them the entire game here against the crappy Pacers. Yeah. Speaking of the Pacers, though, they destroy the Tankapalooza parlay last night as the Pacers shock the Orlando Magic north of 13-point dogs. They win outright 128-126. So it's easy, right? You just money line parlay all the 13 and 14 point favorites. Well, I mean, we saw it in the NCAA tournament. Doesn't exactly work. And it didn't work last night in the NBA as the Pacers get the upset win.
Easy. Everyone could do it. Easy. It's smooth. It's simple. It's an L word. We don't use that here.
Just 4 games on the schedule tonight in the association. These odds are courtesy of our friends over at FanDuel. You have the Kings are at the Hornets. Charlotte 16.5-point favorites, so you could put them in your Tankapalooza parlay. Knicks 9.5-point favorites at home against the Pelicans. The NBC Peacock has a doubleheader. You got Magic, Cavs, and then Nuggets at the Suns. Denver 5.5-point road favorites at the Suns. For the Magic, I mean, do you bounce back after that pitiful loss? No word on the spread as we're recording this pod with player availability for both the Magic and the Cavaliers. All right, Colby, college basketball. We are days away from the start of the Sweet 16. What was your biggest takeaway from the first 2 rounds of the Big Dance?
I'm still recovering from the bruises that I had to endure from Iowa. As somebody who is very high on Florida, that was just a literal gut punch. I send my flowers to all the Iowa fans that haven't had much to enjoy over the past couple years, excluding Caitlin Clark. We were not going to act like that didn't happen. That was awesome for that fan base and just that school and overall. But I did not see Florida going down, and all my friends were anti-Florida. I'm anti a lot of the 1 seeds, but I thought Florida would have a better chance. Really love going forward Illinois against Houston. Houston, I'm out on. There's just so many teams I'm out on, and I'm just ready to not see them anymore because I'm just done looking at these teams. I'm done with UConn. I'm still upset that they beat UCLA, who I had going to the Elite Eight, and I sprinkled on the Final Four for fun because UConn has played with their food for the entire Big East Conference play. And now they're deciding to turn it on. I don't think they're going to go far. And if I'm wrong, cool. I do love Dan Hurley. But their biggest win since December is Florida. And you want to include the St. John's win, but they kind of had to put their foot on the throats of St. John's. But St. John's also beat them twice and beat them in the Big East tournament. So how good is this team? I do not think St. John's is all that good. Good luck doing what you had to do against oh, my God, who'd they beat?
Kansas.
A lot of teams. Sorry. St. John's beat Kansas. Good luck doing that against Duke. They're not going to be able to make their threes like that. And I'm still shocked as someone who backed St. John's that they were able to come out on top, especially when they were choking last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
they probably shouldn't have won.
A 16-4 run they allow in the closing minutes there, and it crushed me because I got eliminated from the Survivor contest with St. John's -3.5. So absolutely brutal. Here's your updated odds on FanDuel to win the national title. Duke is a co-favorite with Arizona at +400. Actually, Michigan is the favorite, +280. So you got Michigan +280, then Duke and Arizona as the second favorites at +400. You have Houston at +700 is next on the list. I think, look, I'm already on Arizona. I have Arizona to win the national title. I've already bet Arizona to win the national title. I'm riding Arizona, from here on out. I think Houston has value. Now I know you're against Houston. You're going to be on Illinois. I'm on Houston. It's one of my best bets. Playing the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 at home, literally a mile away from campus in an arena where you play a regular season game every year, I think is a massive advantage for them. And with Florida losing, their path to the Final Four just opened up significantly. You get by Illinois this weekend, your Elite 8 game is either going to be against Nebraska or Iowa. Literally, the game against Illinois is the Elite 8 game, right? That's the regional final. The winner of that game is going to the Final Four. And then once you're in the Final Four, hey, then you're in the dance. Then you got a chance. You might take on Duke. You might take on St. John's. You might take on Michigan State or UConn. I don't know. But once you get to the Final Four, you have yourself a chance. They have the experience. As I talked with David Behrman yesterday on the pod, Houston was, 30 seconds away from winning the title last year. Just get by Illinois here in the Sweet 16, and I think that they are in the Final Four.
I think it's going to be one of the better games of the week. I don't like Houston ever in the tournament. I know, just like you said, they almost won it last year. I just don't like slow teams, and I don't like banking on them to be able to pick it up. I think Illinois is not a fast team. I think they're like 270 in tempo, but they are the superior offense. And Houston's defense is great at home, which is probably huge. The biggest plus they could have this week is being at home. But I think Illinois' offense is going to be too much for them to handle, and I think it's going to be too much for them to keep up offensively because I don't trust Houston's offense.
You're right. It could be the game. It's going to be the game of the weekend, Illinois and Houston.
Yeah.
That's
at least the game of Thursday.
Yes. That's the late game coming on Thursday. We have NIT games tonight. 2 games in the NIT. Wichita State against Tulsa, quarterfinal of the NIT. Tulsa 3.5-point favorites, total of 152.5. And St. Joe's takes on New Mexico at the Pit. New Mexico 10.5-point favorites, total also 152.5. Have you taken a look at the NIT games? Any intrigue in this as we get down now to the quarterfinal? Do you like the totals? Do you think we see like high scoring games in the NIT? Where are you on this?
I used to be a huge NIT guy. One of the greatest bets of all time, Wisconsin, North Texas under in 2023 that had 8 minutes scoreless. The greatest cash of my life. I talk about it as if it happened yesterday because I wrote that it would end 110 and it was just, I'm like, oh my God, they keep missing. But anywho, I think I wouldn't mind taking St. Joe's. I watched them against Syracuse a couple months ago. That was probably December. They're very scrappy. I'm not a fan that the number's going down just because 11.5 at the opening number is a better number than 10.5 in my opinion. But New Mexico's always a juggernaut team in the Mountain West, but St. Joe's is kind of scrappy. So that's probably my only look. I don't really trust Wichita or Tulsa. I would probably lean Tulsa though.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the totals in this. We'll see where the market moves as we progress throughout the day here on Tuesday. There was just one game on the ice last night. The Senators, a 2-1 win over the New York Rangers. Obviously, a much larger schedule for tonight on the ice. It's such a great job, these NHL schedule makers, where they pack, one game on a Monday and then, 16 or whatever on a Tuesday and then 2 on a Wednesday. It's great. It's just a really good balanced schedule. Games of note as we're looking at postseason standings are concerned, and everyone's like bunched up, especially in the Eastern Conference. Like this is going to be coming down to the final games of the regular season to see who gets into the playoffs and who does not. But Montreal has a fun game here tonight. They host the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina's minus 135. Montreal right now sitting in the third spot in the Atlantic Division, but they are tied with the Boston Bruins at 86 points. Meanwhile, Carolina with 96 points, one ahead of Buffalo for the top spot here in the Eastern Conference. The Senators, coming off of that win against the Rangers yesterday, they are in the wild card hunt as they are about 2 points back of the Islanders for the second wild card. Detroit only 1 game back of the Islanders for that second wild card. Now these two teams will play each other tonight, so it could be a playoff-type atmosphere between the Senators and the Red Wings. Right now, Detroit, a short minus 112 favorite. Avalanche take on the Penguins in Pittsburgh. A couple of, last week or so, Penguins went to Colorado and beat the Avalanche 7-2. Do the Avs get revenge here tonight, Colby?
I would say, yeah. I mean, we know hockey as one of the most prideful sports. They definitely think about that and had this one circled. I would definitely go with the Avs. Also, to add on to your complaint about the schedule, when a game says 7 o'clock, start at 7 o'clock. 7:05, whatever. I hate when they start a game, it says 7 and it starts at 8:15. What are we doing? That drives me insane.
Not everyone can be Major League Baseball or the NFL and start with, first, like for baseball, at least, and look, there are some games where you have like the pregame ceremonies, but when they say first pitch is 7:08 p.m., first pitch is 7:08 p.m., and we know the NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL just always kicks off on time. College football, it's, but yeah, some of these basketball games are just, they're the worst. Like they don't start.
Hockey's just the worst with timing. What do you mean it's 7:35 and this game hasn't started?
Yeah. Oh, they're still, the Zamboni's still on the ice. They still have to get things all sorted out. All right, Colby.
They got to get the little guys off.
Yes. Yeah. The little tykes off the rink.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your Profit Boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
All right, Colby. Opening night, as we mentioned in Major League Baseball, is coming up here on Wednesday night. And then we have a full opening day coming up on Thursday. I know you've done a ton of preparation already for the Major League Baseball season. You already have a bet for Wednesday night between the Yankees and the Giants. What do you like here for Yankees-Giants coming up tomorrow night?
Yeah, I had this one in the back of my mind for the last couple days. I am a Yankee fan, so this is just unbiased as humanly possible. I love Logan Webb's strikeouts. It is at 5.5 at -138. There was a boost on FanDuel. Thank you, FanDuel, for that boost. Now we don't have to worry about paying the juice. I do think it goes up to 6.5. So if you go out and see when you listen to this that there's 5.5, it's not going to be 6.5 or 5.5 come first pitch. It'll probably close 6.5, 7.5. The Yankees are just a notorious strikeout team. It's basically the same team from last year. They had like a 26% K percentage a year ago. Logan Webb coming off a career high year in strikeouts. I think he's due for another career high in strikeouts. He's a very not under the radar, just underappreciated stud pitcher in my opinion. Has a great trends on batters-box.com. Goes over this like 80% of the time in like 22 elite ratings at home. Has great numbers. I think 5.5 is a breeze.
Do you think that there's a benefit for Logan Webb having pitched in the World Baseball Classic, that he starts here on opening night and he's maybe a little bit stronger or a little bit more built up than he would normally be for an opening day?
I would say, yeah. I think it definitely benefits. It probably benefits the hitters too, but I think it benefits him as well. I mean, he's got that hostile environment he's pitched in. He also has got a 23 or 26%. I know that's two drastically different percentages in K percentage, but he's been having a lot of strikeouts this spring, which I typically don't look at. But if he's ready to roll, I think 6 is a breeze. 6 is a normal day at the office for him. So I think it's a very doable thing, and I'm not worried about paying if you have to pay the juice, do it. I fully endorse that as well.
I was going to ask you, how much stock do you put into spring training numbers when handicapping the first week or so of the Major League Baseball regular season?
Full transparency, first time today was looking at it ever. So I usually use last year's, which I try to only use for obviously probably the first month. But after a while, you got to throw it away. It's a completely different season. I throw away the first half of the season come June, July. Or come July when the first half of the season's over, because the first half is a completely different season. The temperatures are 20 degrees off or more. So it's just different. You don't have to look at March and May. Like, what are you going to do in August? You go back, well, he threw 7 strikeouts against the Yankees back in April. Yeah, it was what? How hot was it back then, too?
Yeah, that's a tremendous point. How much are you invested in the futures market in Major League Baseball? Do you do a lot of like win totals? Do you do a lot of teams to win the division? Like, how invested are you in the futures market?
I try not to overdo it, Scott. But full transparency, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting the parlay, 6 bets on Vinny Pasquantino.
We love that.
And I'm fully anticipating being the most incorrect person ever come September. But I love him. I took him to win MVP and have the most home runs when I found out about the fence being moved in. That I put a quarter of a unit on both. It was kind of just like a tongue-to-cheek bet, but the prices are so astronomically high that it's kind of a smart bet because his ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan would say. But I also have his 35 home runs at plus 750, which doesn't exist anymore. Please do not go out and bet it. I will say why in a second, because I also have his 40 because I think his ceiling is 40 plus. I think 45 is a number he can reach. 40 plus is plus 4,000. That's what I got. That number is below 10 to 1. Do not bet either of those.
You're 6 to 1 right now on FanDuel. Vinny Pasquantino at 40 plus home runs is plus 600.
That's unbettable, in my opinion. And I know betting is all about what about today. If I'm going to bet it today, it's about today. Do not bet that. If you're going to do that, you like what I'm talking about. Vinny Pasquantino, 6'4", 250 pounds, is a full-blown moose, could hit 40, like I said. You take 2 units and you put it on 27.5 home runs. You pay the juice, you put 2 units down on that, or you just don't pay any juice, take the 30 plus. Because do think he hits 30 plus. He hit 32 last year in his first full season as the first baseman for the Royals, with the fence being 10 feet back from what it is this year. And if you go look in the clips, he had about 8 to 10 balls that were either flyouts at the warning track or they hit off the wall. He should hit 40. I'm too invested in this and watch it be Jack Caglione or Bobby Witt Jr., but I think it's Vinny's year. And those 3 home runs that he hit in the World Baseball Classic did get me very excited, but I'm also very glad I'm on those numbers that I got back in January, because I'd be screwed if I wanted to look into them now.
Well, to that point, and you mentioned what if it's Bobby Witt Jr., Bobby Witt Jr. is the second favorite to win the American League MVP. Up on FanDuel, Aaron Judge plus 185, Bobby Witt plus 450. If we're in love with Vinny Pasquantino to see a major boost in his home run numbers, why isn't it the same for Bobby Witt Jr.?
Maybe because the public is high on Bobby and everyone knows Bobby's a star and nobody really outside of people that really pay attention to baseball. I mean, the baseball's been trying to push Vinny's personality, I feel like, for the last 2-3 years, but I think Bobby's too much of a household name, if you will, for me to even want to go look at. I took Bobby Witt his sophomore year to win MVP. Came in second because Aaron Judge went ballistic. And I was like, I'll probably run it back next year. And then I saw the price. I think it was 4-1. I'm like, not touching Bobby Witt ever again, I guess. So it's just price.
Okay. Anything in the pitcher's market? Cy Young Award or strikeouts leader, things like that?
No, I'm more of a hitter guy. I do bet strikeouts throughout the season. Obviously, I'm on Logan Webb, but future-wise, I can't get a feel for that. I do like the Royals overall to go over their win total 81.5. The AL Central, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, excluding the Twins. I also like the White Sox over 66.5 wins. Maybe I'm too high on the AL Central because I'm on two of their over wins and not on the Tigers for some reason. But two of those teams, one, the Royals, I think they do benefit offensively from the new dimensions. They're a hitter's ballpark now, and they got a lot of guys that can hit the ball. Hopefully Caglione has a great sophomore year, which his rookie season sucked. But the pitching's going to be great. For the White Sox, it's more of a power friendship. I keep saying that. It's going to be like the Panthers and the Chicago Bears. Power friendship's deadly, especially when you're in your second year and the team average age is 24 years old. All those guys are starving to stay in the pros, and they don't want to go back down, so they're trying to make a name for themselves, and I think that's a little morale boost. They got studs. Colson Montgomery is a stud. The second half last season, the White Sox had a better record than the Dodgers, Astros, and Mets. I think this team is great. I think offensively they're going to be fun. Again, we're betting the over on 66.5. I'm not saying this team's going to the World Series. They're going to be fun. The pitching's going to be mediocre, but I do have a long shot on Will Venable to win Coach of the Year in the AL at 5,000 because I don't think there's anything worth taking them over 70-plus wins or them to make the playoffs when I can go and get Will Venable to be Coach of the Year at 5,000 because that's probably who's going to win it if they go to the playoffs.
Currently up on FanDuel, Will Venable, he is like the lowest in the American League, but it's plus.
Yeah, he is dead last.
but it's only plus 1,800. So that's how the market has shaped up. Your favorite in the American League, Dan Wilson of the Mariners, plus 650. Over in the National League, your favorite is Carlos Mendoza of the Mets at plus 700. Bottom of the National League, Warren Schaefer of Colorado.
The Nats?
50-1.
Yeah.
Blake Butera of the Nats is 30-1. But you want to talk about some bad teams. I mean, my goodness. We talk about teams tanking in the NBA and the 15-game losing skids and things like that. I mean, how do the Nationals win any baseball games this year? They are going to be the worst team in the league.
You know what? We should all write this down and probably bet the Nats to have the worst record because I know the pitching's bad in Colorado. I saw it firsthand last year when it was their last home series. I went to one of their games, and it was to tie the White Sox worst record. Everybody was there. It was a sold-out crowd, and there's fight in that lineup. The pitching's a completely different story. The White Sox and the Rockies are very, very similar offensively. Young talent trying to make it in the pros. Hunter Goodman, I took his over home runs at 27.5 as well, hit 31 last year. Best hitter on the team, top 10, if not top 5 catcher in the league right now. Has a high potential of being one of the best. I think he's awesome for that team, awesome for the franchise going forward. But yeah, what's the Nats? It's just C.J. Abrams at Bally Casino in downtown Chicago and River North and James Wood.
The win total up on FanDuel for the Nationals, 64.5. The under is even money. I think that's got to be a play.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks watching them win the World Series 7 years ago and then not even coming close to being a competent team since.
Yeah. Just terrible. What do you got? What do you and Jake Hassan have coming up this week? I know you guys are going to record a live pod coming up here this afternoon, but also you're doing something special for opening day. Why don't you tell the audience what you got cooking?
Yeah, it'll be on here. We'll do it live. We'll do it live both times. Tomorrow we'll just recap the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. We're gonna redo our bracket because it's already busted. Maybe next year will be perfect. Thursday, we're two baseball sickos. We gotta have a full show of bets, at least going through most of the games. I hope to not overdo it, not overserve myself. I'm not going to be drinking. Overdo it with bets because I love opening day. But the worst part about opening day is you're just going against all of the aces where I'm like, why can't we just start Antonio Senzatella out the gate, Colorado? So it'll be great. We'll have fun. Jake's always got hot takes. Jake always has great plays. His insights are awesome, and he's a goober like me.
So let's see. For anyone that's curious about numbers, all Major League Baseball games in the month of March since the start of the 2021 season, favorites 84-63 straight up. That is an negative ROI though. If you bet every favorite, you are down $512. You bet every dog, you're down as well. On the run line, you are down on the favorites at 62-85 on the run line. Now, here's where you are profitable, though. All Major League Baseball games played in the month of March since the start of the 2021 season. Overs, 83, 59, and 5. That is 58.5% to the over in the month of March. Maybe something to the wind. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked, but people always think, oh, they're cold. Well, not all the games are in Chicago. There's someone's going to benefit from some warm weather. Sacramento, Florida, come on.
Yeah, let's see.
Texas.
Last year it was, last year was 36-31 to the over. So not that great. 2024 was the big year. 36-19-2 to the over. In 2023, season started a little bit later. It was just 11-9 to the over. And so again, that's just the month's games in the month of March. So yeah, last year was only 36-31-3 to the over. Last year favorites 43-27 though, straight up 61.4%, the best number over the last couple of years for favorites last year in the month of March. Well, Colby and Jake are going to have all the Major League Baseball preview coming up this week right here on the Better Day podcast feed. You want to make sure that you are listening to Off the Board whenever podcast episodes are released. Follow us on social media as well because the pod does stream live on the Better Day Twitter account, the Better Day YouTube account. Colby's got a Twitch account that it streams live in as well, where you guys can comment and ask all your questions and interact with the guys. Be sure to follow Colby on Twitter. Follow Jake on Twitter as well. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.